Hello and welcome to our webinar on tiling for high-rise buildings. My name is Mojisola Akinwumi and I'll be taking you on today's session. So we'll be looking at high-rise buildings generally, regulations for tiling high-rise buildings, tile adhesive certifications, and then we'll be going into question and answer section. Alright, so when is a building considered high-rise? When it's between when it's more than 7 to 10 stories, it's considered as a high-rise building. So now, why do people construct high-rise buildings? Basically, because they would like to make good use of their space, or to save spaces or areas where we do not have enough free land spaces left. So you can have a 20-story building in as little as a 5 plot of land, and have as high as you can go as long as the foundation is good enough to support the structure. So now, why is tiling considered for high-rise buildings? So basically, tiling is considered for high-rise buildings because of the aesthetics. It's actually very beautiful. Where in an age where we have ceramic tiles, porcelain tiles, we have vitrified tiles that come in different designs and colors. You can have a very fine exterior. Also, it's very durable when the right tile adhesive is used. It's durable, can last over a very long period of time, and has very low maintenance cost. Instead of getting painters to repaint the surface because it's beginning to look old or the paint is beginning to wear out, all you just need to do is get a cleaner to clean the surface and it's as good as new again. So yes, low maintenance cost, and this is all due to under an umbrella. It's all hinged on the fact that the right tile adhesive has to be used in the tiling process. Now, regulations for tile adhesives. Why are there regulations? Basically for safety. Safety, because if you use the wrong tile adhesive for tiling your high-rise building or tiling generally, you could expose people to a lot of hazards, to a lot of harm, which could lead from injury to death. Imagine having a very large 1 meter or 1.2 meter by 600 tiles falling on someone's head or on someone's foot. You can imagine the kind of havoc or harm it will be causing the person. And this can actually happen when the wrong tile adhesive is actually used in placing or in laying those tiles. Now, test standards as well as high quality additives substantially contribute to long-term performance, extending the durability of the whole construction. Now, an important aspect with regard to the sustainability of buildings as well as to their maintenance costs. The standards define that an adhesive passes certain performance tests before it may be accredited with classification. They also reflect increasing performance needs, such as fast setting, which some clients would need when you need to complete a job or a task earlier than it should be, or earlier than it would have taken them, or for from higher time pressure during application, or stronger adhesion where you have large or heavy large format tiles or heavy tiles. And they also allow the end user to compare products and their performance by defining precise analytical measurements and procedures for testing. So I'm going to use myself as a case study. Imagine I did have most of the knowledge I have now about tile adhesives, and I was going to tile my building, and I was going to procure for my tilers to tile the building. And how would I know the right tile adhesive to actually procure for that job in order to achieve durability? Remember we said that, and produce a safe environment for people to live in or around. One way to be able to identify the right adhesive is to be able to understand the different classifications and standards. So I'll be looking out for certain classifications when I'm going to choose, or when I want to select the right adhesive to use for tiling my high-rise building. Right, so then we go to the classifications of tile adhesives, because these are the things you'll be looking out for in order to tile effectively for high-rise buildings. So the classification also gives the following additional characteristics. F mortar with accelerated setting time. Remember we mentioned wanting to complete the task faster or earlier than it would have taken us to complete it. Yes, so you need the tile adhesive with the F classification. Then T, mortar with reduced slip. So when you're applying or you're placing your tiles on the walls, where you have vertical application of your tiles, what would naturally happen is gravity taking its course. The tiles actually slipping, sliding off, or falling off. So in order to hold these tiles properly in place, you need a tile adhesive with the non-slip property or the reduced slip property, which is T. And E, mortar with extended open time. What this does is it gives you enough room to make adjustments after placing your tiles. You know, naturally, when you're doing exterior facades, what you need is aesthetics, perfection. So when you place your tiles, it gives you a window of 30 minutes to be able to readjust and place your tiles in, and arrange your tiles in place without destroying the tiles or the wall. Then S, we have the S1, deformable or highly deformable adhesive, that's S2. So we need this in areas that we have adverse temperature changes, or we have extreme temperatures, and also for areas that are subjected to vibration. So we need this the property for this deformable property, which is how flexible the tile adhesive can be. So let's look at this classification and the requirements that they all need to meet. So for the normal setting adhesive, that's type C, we have greater than or equal to 0.5 Newton per millimeter square, and this tensile strength is achieved not less than 20 minutes after the tiles have been placed. Then for your first setting adhesive, that's F, we're experiencing greater than or equal to 0.5 Newton per millimeter square after not less than 10 minutes, because it's fast setting, and it's also C1. The difference is this achieves its tensile strength earlier than the normal setting adhesive. So for improved adhesive type C2, we have a tensile strength of greater than or equal to 1 Newton per millimeter square, which is what you should be looking out for when you're tiling for high rise. Greater than or equal to 1 Newton per millimeter square. This could be up to 1.5 Newton per millimeter square, or even 2 Newton per millimeter square. What you should be looking at to make sure that your tile adhesive, the tile adhesive you're selecting is C2. Then slip resistance T, very important. It's really important to have a non-slip adhesive. So make sure you look for the T classification on the tile adhesive you're purchasing or you're using for tiling your high-rise building, and the requirement is less than or equal to 0.5 millimeter. Extended open time, you have greater than or equal to 0.5 Newton per millimeter square after not less than 30 minutes. Then for exterior adhesive plywood, you want to play your plywood. You have the plywood P1 and P2, just as you have the C1 and C2. So you have greater than or equal to 0.5 Newton per millimeter square, and we have greater than or equal to 1 Newton per millimeter square. Then we have the transverse deformation S. So for deformable adhesive S1, we're looking at deformation up to greater than or equal to 2.5 millimeter, but less than 5 mm it can withstand. While highly deformable adhesive S2, we're looking at greater than or equal to 5 millimeter. Now, what Costa tile adhesives is suitable for tiling high-rise buildings? So we look at our Costa tile fix 20. You can see that it's C2, improved tensile strength of not less than 1 Newton per millimeter square, which is actually 1.5 to state. And then it has the non-slip properties, and it has extended open time, room for making adjustments. And it's really good time to state that all Costa tile adhesives have waterproofing properties. This prevents water in when you tile you tile in areas that are exposed to moisture or water. It prevents water from washing away the binding properties of your adhesive, leaving it sandy. So basically, it has waterproofing properties, so water can't flow through it. And the beautiful thing about Costarchem Fix 20 Plex is that it has added water resistant properties and also meets this standard, which is a very good pick for tiling high-rise buildings. Then for coastal tile fix 30, we have the C2TE S1 for coastal tile fix 30, and it's been improved actually to S2, not S1 anymore. And this is a very perfect good pick for tiling for high rise. Now remember we said that for C2 it's greater than or equal to 1 Newton per millimeter square. It doesn't mean that it's 1 Newton per millimeter square, because the tile fix 30 actually has increased tensile strength than the 20, and the 20 has increased tensile strength than the 1 Newton per millimeter square. It's just the standard that it meets. So for the coastal tile fix 30 flex, it's not just the fact that it has added water resistant properties. It comes in two components. So you have your tile fix, regular tile fix 30 bag, 20 kg bag, and then you have a mixing liquid that you'd use in mixing it. And the liquid is actually an acrylic binder. So instead of mixing with water, you're mixing with the binding agent. So you can imagine the tensile strength you'll be achieving with the tile fix 30 flex. We have adhesives for tiling on glasses and metal, which is our Coastal Epoxy 40. It's you can see that the standard on the classification is R2T and RG. So instead of cementitious now, which we have the other classifications I will mention, this is epoxy based, resin based basically. So it has even increased tensile strength than cementitious properties. Cementitious adhesives, and it can be used for both adhesive, can be used as both adhesive and tile grout. Application. So basically you mix with the required quantity of water to mix with. So basically all the tile adhesives come with a technical data sheet that states the quantity of water that should be used in mixing a 20 kg bag. Usually be between 4 liters of water to 5.5 liters of water for a bag of tile adhesive. And after how you mix this, you pour the measured water into a bucket, and you empty this bag of tile adhesive into the water and use a slow speed stirrer to stir. It's very important to stir slowly with your mechanical stirrer to avoid air entrapment. You don't want that, because that would reduce the strength of your tile adhesive. So you scoop out some adhesive with your trowel, apply on the surface. Please note that it's not ideal to apply the tile adhesive on the tile, because what this will do is it's almost impossible actually for you to spread the tile adhesive across the entire surface of the tile. So what happens when you don't spread it across the entire surface? You give rooms for empty drums under your tile, which is not actually a good thing to do. So it's best to apply your tile adhesive on the surface, spread it evenly with your notch trowel. The teeth of your notch trowel is going to determine the bed thickness of your tile adhesives, which will determine the coverage area of your tile adhesive. So use your notch trowel, spread it evenly, place your tile on the surface, and then you're going to be introducing the twisting movement. Twisting, and you press and you place it properly so it can be properly placed, and you proceed to applying other layers of your tile adhesive. And grouting can take place between 24 to 48 hours after tiling. And if you're using the fast setting adhesive, you can start grouting within 8 to 10 hours. So this is all we have on tile adhesive. Thank you very much. Tiling for high-rise buildings. If you have questions, please note your questions in the comment sections and we'll get back to you. And we look forward to seeing you in our next training, which will be talking about flooring solutions for car park. So we say flooring systems for car park. So look forward to it, and we'd love to have you there. Thank you very much.